again, yeah, membership participation. I mean, obviously contracts. You know what I mean. We're gonna continue to set standards for contracts. You know what I mean. Yeah. The days of, well, guys, just accept it. You really want to strike. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Dude, those days are gone. You know what I mean. We have the right to strike. We have the right to fight, for everything that we deserve, and this local is going to keep doing that. You know what I mean. And I'd rather everybody collaborate and work together to win the war. But like a good steward of ours says, Jason Jackson, if you stand on those tracks and you're not willing to jump on the train, you're going to get ran over by the green machine. You know what I mean. And that's just the way it is.
I love that guy, dude. Green shout out to Jason Jackson.
This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Clock Shop Talk.
What's going on?
Been a little while, George.
Been a little bit. Been a little busy.
We had a local election that we just got done with.
Yeah.
Which was fucking stressful.
Yes.
That time is always stressful, right?
Yeah. And we have a returning guest, the grand champion, Eric Jimenez, ST of Local 952, package division representative for the IBT, and co-chair of the Southwest.
Yep.
What's going on?
Good. Thank you guys for having me back on the show. Like you said, done and over with.
I guess
time to get back
congratulations are in order for sure. Congratulations to you and John Green and the team. And I really do feel like this. I wouldn't say it if I didn't. I think you've put together an amazing team. I think it's like a family to me. The family that honestly we probably spend more time with than our own family, which
no doubt
sucks. But that's kind of the name of the game.
Yeah,
we get in this life to help members and better people's lives and non-members alike. We're always trying to organize, but this is like our little family here.
It is like you said, you spend more time with each other than you do with your own families. But like I tell people, if this is a job to you, you're not supposed to be here. Yeah. It's a passion. It's a way you live. Teamsters has to run through your blood in order to really appreciate the what you're doing for people. You know what I mean? And
100%.
Even though you get more ass kicks than you do pats on the back.
Like for sure.
Said, it is
quite accurate.
But like I said, it's a passion. But thank you for the congratulations.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well earned. I think the members spoke. At the end of the day, there's a whole lot of shit talking, a whole lot of politics, whatever you want to call it. I think that that mudslinging at times can get a little personal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to discuss that. I mean, what's it like for somebody like you, I guess, that has to deal with the not only scrutinization or scrutinizing of your of the way you do things or what you've done, but the personal attacks.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it plenty of times, and I feel the need to keep talking about it. Some people would say like, it's done, the election's over with. Well, you know what? When it comes to political attacks, when it comes to more so personal attacks, blatant lies, just blatant disregard to respect for people. You can't just flip a switch and say, hey, the election's done, and I'm going to forget everything you said about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to question my job, like I said, whether we're getting good contracts, whether we're getting the membership involved, whether we're answering phone calls, making sure the contract's enforced. I mean, that's the name of the game. You step into the kitchen knowing you're going to get burned from time to time.
Yeah.
I think what is completely unnecessary is the fact that, people's their families are thrown out there. Blatant lies of, Eric's been to jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
John Green killed somebody. You know what I mean? We make backdoor deals. Stuff like that.
Or we're personally benefiting.
Or we buy trucks when one of the candidates had a Wagoneer. All these lies and we own homes and we're stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars. All that stuff, putting, our personal information on, the internet, all that stuff is unnecessary. It really is. And, when you take an attack like that, I mean, like I said, you got to know stepping into this job, you're going to take some blows. You're going to take some bullets. And that's, that just comes with the name of the game, you know what I mean? What I have said, and I'll say it again to a lot of people, is if we, and when I say we, Teamsters as a whole, members as a whole, leadership as a whole, if we spent half the time fighting the companies and providing for our membership rather than beating each other up over stupid stuff, I mean, dude, we'd be on the top of the world. And we already are there, you know what I mean? There ain't no doubt that Teamsters is the best union in the world. But again, the unnecessary stuff of, hey, it's election time, so I can talk about your family. I can talk about unfortunate times in your life. I can talk about, the death of parents. I can talk about your heritage,
your race, your religion,
race, the way you look. That's all fair game. No, it's not. We've never, campaigning has never been about, well, hey, John, you're tall and your beard's ugly. You know what I mean? No, that,
we know that's a lie.
that was never meant to be there. You know what I mean? Hey, saying that people have killed people, I mean, that's just blatant lies, you know what I mean? That was never meant to be in the political arena. But unfortunately, these, and we talk about them, these people that like to get on the internet but will never show up face-to-face to debate you about their so-called, facts, which we all know they're lies. They get this courageous attitude that if I talk on the internet, you can't debate me. But even when you do debate them, on the internet, because it gets to you guys sometimes, and you got to have thick skin and just brush it off. But even when you do debate them, or you do rebut their lies, or you do fact check them, it's like, oh, look at how dare they do that to us? We're victims again. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that's not what it is. So
we've actually had calls for debates and discussions here.
Yeah.
The guy who was supposed to said he was going to come on didn't come on.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have a discussion with Mark Davison.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, every time I see that gentleman at his yard, I mean, he never has anything to say to me. He never comes up and says, hey, all these accusations that I make about you, all these so-called truths, which are usually lies. He never comes up and says, hey, Eric, I'm willing to talk to you face to face. He'll walk right by me. And then as soon as I walk out the building, there he is, clicking on the keyboard, clack, 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 clack.
Yeah,
what I mean? But, it's unfortunate, that, our, very small few of our membership decides to go. And, you talk about debates, hey, we just got done with an election. I will say this, water under the bridge. Some things you don't forget. But, myself, even you as a steward, you as a business agent, it's in our job to have to let some of this stuff go.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
if not majority of it, and say, let's get back to work. Let's start doing, what's right. And that's really, what we need to do. We need to start figuring out, how we build bridges, how we throw some of this, political junk to the side and say, hey, let's just get to doing what our number one interest is, and that's taking care of our members. But what I will say is any of the candidates that just ran against me and John, any of the so-called, truth, warriors out there and really nothing but a bunch of lies, dude, when you see me in your yard, come talk to me about the stuff you were spreading about me.
Yeah.
If your head is telling you, okay, well, election's done and I'm going to wait another 3 years so I can bash you again in 3 years, what are you really doing for the union movement? What are you really doing to benefit our members? You're not doing anything. To the guys out there that ran, come talk to us. And I get it. People are like, wow, we don't feel comfortable at the general membership meetings. The only people that don't feel comfortable at our general membership meetings are the ones that they know they have thrown out blatant lies. They know they're going to be called out about the misinformation that can be fact checked. The ones that have just literally, dude, the sky's green. No, it's not. It's blue. Okay, you're picking on me, dude. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're picking on me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know
why they don't feel comfortable? Because it's not just that; it's guilt.
Yes. Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? And you know, if you say something and you truly believe in it, dude, call me up. come to the general membership meeting. You know what I mean? But, and I know some people are like, oh, look, if they want us to come to the general membership meeting, he's challenging us. No, I'm not. That's your job to do. That's your responsibility as a union member to come to the general membership meeting. I'm encouraging you to come so me and you can have a debated talk or even just a understanding of where we're at with each other as to why you're saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
And whether I can talk you into believing that what you're saying is wrong, or whether you're just going to walk away and one ear and out the other, at least we can say we talk to each other. But dude, get off the internet, finally get involved. Come, the members spoke regardless. And I get it. We're going to hear conspiracy theories. We're going to hear,
we're hearing them already.
Yeah. And let me just clear that up real quick. You know what I mean? The ballots that were held to the side, they were not challenged by any of the slates.
Exactly.
They weren't challenged by my team. They weren't challenged by Danny Herbert or his team, and they weren't challenged by Carlos Quinones or his team. It was...
They didn't match up to the IBT list.
Yeah, they didn't. Somewhere down the line, they weren't eligible, and by the time they went through and vetted them and deemed to be eligible, some of them out of the chunk that weren't eligible, there was a chunk that finally came out to be clarified that they weren't eligible, but they weren't going to make a difference. They weren't going to make a difference.
Well, it's funny. I heard some rumors that basically, like, those were from the strongest yards. And I'm like, how the fuck do you prove that?
Yeah.
Like the strongest opposition yards.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck do you prove that?
And coming from a guy...
What if you got all those votes?
Coming from a guy that never steps foot into our hall at all. Yeah. That never gets involved, never comes to a meeting. But clearly, I mean, it's funny you say that because this same gentleman claims that, I mean, he thinks he's Nostradamus.
Yeah.
I can call a election. If I go ahead and I support them, they're guaranteed to win. Well, it didn't happen this time. Your team actually came in third place because you endorsed them. You know what I mean? He loves, he's a narcissist. He's his own God. You know what I mean? He makes it seem like if he says something, it's truth. They came from the strongest yards. Like you said, how would you know that? You weren't even there. You didn't even see the names. You weren't even an observer to see where those were coming from. But again,
and at the end of the day, they didn't count those votes because it didn't matter. You already had a big enough margin to win.
And it could go either way. And I feel strongly that majority of those votes would have been for me. And we would have widened the gap. But at the end of the day, we'll never know. And that's the choice. Unless the joint council comes and decides to count them, they'll make that decision because, that's another rumor they're trying to say as well. 952 isn't letting them be counted. That's not my decision. You read through the Constitution of the IBT, a request or protest goes to the joint council. I don't sit on the joint council.
Yeah.
That's going to be a decision by them. But again, it can get tough, being in my seat. It can get tough being in John's seat. But I mean, as you know, John, and you as a steward, I mean, you support a team, dude, you get backlash for it.
You're going to get scrutinized for stuff, for sure.
Yeah, you're going to get scrutinized for it, whether you're a business agent, whether you're a steward, whether you're a supporter. I mean, we had people...
Like you're a Raiders fan. They suck.
Yeah. Hey, we won 2 games so far.
Sorry, I had to.
But,
that's just like your opinion, sir.
But, I mean, you did, and, they claim, to be the best team out there, you know what I mean? But, these guys were posting stickers on people's cars without their permission. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So
there's a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, in Anaheim where one of the teams went and littered a car without the permission of somebody with a bunch of stickers and then actually sent them the video and said, hey, haha, look what we did to your car. I mean, and
so they publicly confessed that they vandalized this dude's car?
Yes. Well, let me use the words they were using thuggery and they were using thuggism. And, they were just gangsters being mean. No, I mean, hey, it is what it is. I don't think it was the right thing to do. But, I mean, like I said, it can get tough. But you know what?
That's wild.
At the end of the day, you keep paddling. I know that when me and John and my executive board and what the team at 952 has done is better than we've ever seen. And we're going to keep striving to do even better. And that alone is what makes us stay in the game. And what makes us keep pushing forward to keep running this local. You know what I mean? And again, I think the best way to put it is the members voted.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and say whatever you want. The members voted. We won overwhelmingly. They voted. And unless you want to look at all those members that voted for us and say, well, because you voted for them and I didn't like the outcome, so I hate you too. No, the best thing for those people to say now is the election's over. They won. Congratulations. What can we do to support you or to help you better this local, rather than saying, okay, let me see what conspiracy theories I can come with, over the next couple months. Let me see what I can do to try to, screw them over in the next 2.5 years. Let me see what I can do to trip them up. You know what I mean? If that's your plan for the next 2.5 years, you got something wrong in that Teamster brain of yours, bro. And you need to figure something out.
Let's work for the members. Let's get some better things going on. Yeah. And I mean, I think we've, I guess, hit on the negative, enough. I would really like to get to the positive stuff. I mean, what do you feel, or what do you want to say to all the members that did go out there and vote for you and have trust in you and faith in you to do a good job?
First off, thank you. Thank you to everybody out there that put their time and effort into helping us get reelected. Thank you to everybody out there that really trusted us, and put their hope in our hands that we'll do a good job. I think, actions speak louder than words, and I think this local has proved that they can do the job. It's not me, it's not John, it's this team as a whole, but not just the local. I mean, our membership as a whole. When leadership, stewards, and membership all work together, when all the pistons are pumping in that machine, we're that much stronger, and I think we've proved we can do it. I mean, hell, look, dude, just prior to the election, we settled an Albertson's contract. Massive contract, you know what I mean? History-breaking contract.
$4
$4 in the first year.
God damn.
$10 over 5 years. $2 into the pension, you know what I mean? Just massive deal, we've never seen that in Southern California. Yeah. And, it's like, dude, that's an achievement. When people were seeing 25, 50 cents, $1.50, $2 over the life of a contract, $3 over the life of the contract, and 50 cents over the life of a contract into your pension, and then all of a sudden we come and we say, no, $10 is what we're going to hit this time, and $2, a $12 pension crazy. And wage package. I mean, dude, it's huge. CVS, they're a year less. I believe they're a year less than, they're a 4-year deal.
4-year contract.
But dude, just over $7. You know what I mean? They're about solid. $8.50 into 4 years, you know what I mean? And they did. And people are like, well, see, if we would have held out, every contract, CVS got their 3, they set the bar. Thank you, CVS. Thank you for putting that next brick on the road to success for us. Yeah. And then came Albertsons, and we built off of it. And then the next contract will build off of that. You know what I mean? So
yes, I want $10 first year,
which is believe it or not, it's true. But I think the majority of our membership out there has seen what we're doing here at this local. Yeah. Our members are enthusiastic to be Teamsters, man.
Sir.
Dude, they're and it's questionable. But, they're making their own shirts. Some people say you're not allowed to put the Teamster logo, and you're not. But, when you get people making their own hats, their own shirts, because they want to see that symbol on their back.
Want to represent the Teamsters. Yeah,
because they want to represent. Dude, that's massive, you know what I mean? Yep. That's power. That's, that's what you want to see out of your membership. And I think moving forward, I hope our members, rather than just seeing, I've said it, instead of seeing the one maybe mistake that we've made, or the one thing we didn't get out of negotiations, how about you look and you say, dude, look at everything they've done. Man, that outweighs the negative by far, you know what I mean? So, like you said, John, it's, beating up on the negative is an easy thing to do because there's so much out there, and so many lies out there that they say about us. But, the positivity, the good things this local has done, for the membership outweighs, it clouds all that shit out. You know what I mean? And, hopefully our members, they did see it.
Well, yeah, I think that's what it really comes down to, is the members did see what you've done in the past 6 years, 5.5 years, or coming up on 6 years.
Coming up to 6.
They seen what you've done, and they've seen what the team you've put together. And it's everybody. It's John, it's, Frank, negotiating those contracts, Miguel, James is out there handling his stuff. Yeah. I think that, you've just put together a great team, and you've got the contracts, just great contracts. I mean, solid contracts. Yeah. GKN, that's another one.
I mean, dude, $850 over 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those people were used to, our members at GKN were used to seeing, $1.75, $2 over 5 years. We gave them $850. They used to see
every year they're like, "There's a quarter."
Yeah, and honestly, Georgia, you laugh about it, but that's what it was, and that's what they accepted, because they didn't know any better. And for us to sit down and say, hey, they're probably coming into the ratification meeting like, here comes another $1.50 over 5 years, and here comes another 10 cents over 5 years into the pension, and then we lay hey, here's a contract that's $850. And they're like, what? No, you guys are joking.
Yeah, do like this, Eric.
Yeah.
Here's your contract.
Yeah. And then, on top of that, they get an extra.
I have to blur that out.
They get an extra holiday. They got another holiday. I mean, these, they're every member that we have negotiated for, their lives have improved.
Yeah.
Their lives have improved, and that's what we're proud of here. You know what I mean? So, like you were saying, it's a team. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Dude, you put a team where the quarterback's doing great, the line's doing great, the defense is doing great, receivers are doing great, running backs, defensive backs, and then on top of that, you got great coaches, and then on top of that, you got a solid, group of fans behind you. You know what I mean? You're going to win the Super Bowl, and that's what we've done here. You know what I mean? So it is. It's the leadership, it's our stewards, it's our membership. We've put our pistons are all pumping at the same time, and some people just can't stop, sit back, and say, good job.
Give it up, man. That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
but, I mean, I think that's great, and you're right. Just all pistons are firing. We just got to – and then we also support each other when we're down, when we're we've got a struggle, we got a battle. You got a manager that's going crazy over here. We all get together and we go into the building and we go handle business. You know, we never had that before. If we had a rogue manager that was just going crazy,
he picked on our members forever.
Yeah, he just picked on our members,
and you had to avoid that manager. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of that's changed. And obviously, myself, I didn't run, but I appreciate everybody out there that voted for the members first slate. You guys spoke and spoke loudly.
Yeah.
So
and you could see, and John, you saw the difference. I think when we first took over, me and John first took over, and we ran our team and we won. You did. You had division, man. There were some people that supported the old team, and they couldn't find it themselves to switch over and just say, hey, I got to get behind who's leading me as long as they do a good job. And believe it or not, we still have a handful of guys that still, 6 years later, they just can't get over it, man. It has nothing to do with the job that we're doing. It has nothing to do with what we've achieved. It's just, I just don't like you and John and the team that won because I still have bitter feelings. Okay, that's fine. But and then 3 years later, when we ran 3 years ago, there were still some challenges, you know what I mean? We were still trying to, prove to people like, hey, we've proved over 3 years we can do a good job. We've gotten good contracts. But I think, what was really noticeable this time around was walking into all our yards. Our stewards, our membership was like, why would we vote for anybody else but you guys? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, you're going to have your chunk of people no matter what are going to vote, against you know what I mean? And I can guarantee you, the way the world goes these days is you throw out a lie and it's truth right away, you know what I mean? So, I mean, we had some people vote against us, whether it's truly they believed they wanted to vote against us or they were misled, you know what I mean? But, it is what it is. The members voted, and whether you voted for us or not, we're willing to take on the challenge for you. Let us try to win your support. Let us try to win your trust, because ultimately, at the end of the day, if we all come together and we work with each other, we're a hell of a lot stronger. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So, just word to the wise: don't wait 2 years to start bad-mouthing us. Get involved. Ask questions. Don't listen to the internet. Don't listen to the rumors going around here. You know what I mean? And if that's all you're out there for, like I said, you got some soul searching to do.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to touch on last little segment we'll do. I mean, we're not going to do a long show today, just so you guys know. But what is the vision moving forward? I saw the vision, and I'm 100% on board. But you got another 3 years now. Where do you plan on taking us as a leader?
So, I mean,
Not that I will say this. Not that I'm saying like, oh, you haven't got great contracts, but what do you want to continue? What do you want to move forward in? Where do you want to?
The goals never stop. You know what I mean? We're privileged to sit here for another 3 years. You know what I mean? It's not like hey, I guaranteed this seat. You know what I mean? We're privileged to be sitting here. I can only thank the members for them putting their trust in our hands and saying thank you for everything. But the goals don't stop, the job doesn't stop. You know what I mean? The push against labor, corporate America trying to take whatever they can away from us.
That never stops either.
Yeah, that ain't going to stop either. You know what I mean? So specifically here at 952, you know what I mean? I think there's always some house cleaning you can do. There's some loose ends that you can tighten up. You know what I mean? But I think really just the big focus is keep doing what we're doing and do it better every single day. Get membership to our more meeting. More membership to our general membership meetings. Get more involved. You know what I mean? Yeah. And although we have two organizers, one at the JC 42 and then one at the IBT. Let's get more of our members so enthusiastic to get recognized that they want to go work, for the IBT and they want to volunteer their time. But membership participation is something I'll never give up on. I'm gonna beat you up in the ear. I am gonna call you to come to a meeting every single month until one day you show up and you look at me from the back and say, and I'm going to be like, dude, he finally came. And that's something that we have to strive for. You know what I mean? Because there ain't no point in us doing what we're doing if our membership doesn't believe in us, if our membership doesn't see what we're doing for them. You know what I mean? And if they truly don't believe that, hey, what the union's doing for me it has to be done. You know what I mean? It's not an option. It's a must. And once they start thinking that way, I think, it helps us out. But again, membership participation, obviously contracts, you know what I mean? We're going to continue to set standards for contracts, you know what I mean? The days of, well, guys, just accept it. Do you really want to strike? You know what I mean? Yeah. Dude, those days are gone. You know what I mean? We have the right to strike. We have the right to fight, for everything that we deserve. And this local is going to keep doing that. You know what I mean? And, I'd rather everybody collaborate and work together to win the war. But like a good steward of ours says, Jason Jackson, if you stand on those tracks and you're not willing to jump on the train, you're going to get ran over by the green machine. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is.
I love that guy, dude. Green Shout out to Jason Jackson.
That's funny.
Jason's hilarious.
And he says it all the time.
And he is 100% serious.
He is serious. If you're not going to jump on the train and help us, get down the tracks, then you're going to get ran over. And that's just the way it is. And that's not a threat. That's not, look at you guys are threatening us. No, man. What we're saying is we all can achieve more by working together. So this local we'll continue to do what we're doing. We're going to continue to educate our membership. We're going to continue to get great contracts. We're going to continue to be a spotlight out there for non-union members that wish they could be where we're at. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like our general president, he makes sure every single day that the Teamsters are noticed some way, somehow.
And I love that.
Agree with him or not. But he gets our name out there, and as long as we can keep doing that here at Local 952 to help that out, then we're going to keep doing that. But again, you know what I mean? Just keep doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? But ultimately, never fails. Our number one interest is our membership and making their lives better. And if we can achieve that goal every single day, then we're doing good. We're doing good. So
solid.
Sounds good.
Follow up questions, George?
No, you basically answered all my questions without me asking any. So.
Come on. Well, no, that's awesome, dude. Like I said, we're not going to go too long here. Just wanted a chance for you to get on, speak to the membership. And I appreciate you saying that to the people that didn't vote for you. Give the opportunity to Eric. If you have an issue with your business agent, and I know you say this every general membership meeting, if you would go, you would know. If there's something you want to address or an issue you have with your business agent, you don't like the level of representation or whatever, you can always reach out to Eric, and Eric addresses those right away.
Those and it's true. And, I'll hit on that. We're prolonging the show a little bit, but I'm glad you bring that on, up, John, because 99% of the time that our members feel they're not getting representation, or they feel that they're not getting the answer they want, is one, for some reasons, one, maybe, somebody's egging them on because they want them to fight the battle for them, or two, they don't understand what's being said to them. But 99% of the time, once they talk and I say, well, hey, let me kind of walk you through the way things work, and let me read the language with you in your contract, and let me get the, the business agent side of the story. Yeah. Majority of the time, the member and the business agent come out to be like, all right, dude, cool, no problem. And sometimes the business agent is like, well, I didn't look at it that way. Yeah, I think I can fight it that way. Sometimes the member comes and says, okay, I get it. I don't have a fight here. Yeah. And as much as we wish you did, the contract doesn't call for, for a violation. And most of the time they walk away. So again, most of the time that our members reach out to us, it's usually a good talk, and we usually say, okay, cool, we came to a meeting of the minds. I know people tend to think, oh, they probably call you up and they chew you out every single day, and you guys aren't. Majority of our members aren't like that. Majority of our members are, hey, this is my issue. Can you help me fix it? If you can get it done and it's righteous, let's get it done. If it's not a fightable issue per our contract, then we'll look to other sources, whether it's, the NLRB, whether it's, wage and hour department, whatever it may be. But at some point, if I'm not going to say I can do something for you if we can't do something for you.
You're not going to blow smoke up their ass?
No, there you go. I didn't want to say it, but, I'm not going to lie to you. But I think, it is, to the people that, may have not have voted for us, to come talk to us. You know what I mean? To come hit us up, hit your business agent up, start getting involved. And I think after you get involved, and after you talk to us, you'll understand what it is we do every day and how we have to go down the road of trying to fight for you. And most people, once they see what we do and understand what our job is, they're like, these guys they're doing pretty good. Yeah. They're doing pretty good for me. You know what I mean? So then again, like I said, to the people that, ran against us, dude, come to the local union meeting, man. Come debate your issues with us. But all I ask is, make it fair. Bring up some righteous issues, bring up some facts, bring up some issues that you want to be addressed, and don't say, Eric went to federal prison for 3 years, because if you bring that up on the microphone, then guess what? You're gonna get some. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I get it. And I mean, I'll even kind of extend that a little bit more and say, if you don't have righteous reasons and you're just being a Debbie Downer or, angry for no reason, I'd say get on board. Get on board. Do the right thing for the membership. There's plenty of differences of opinion. But at the end of the day, the election is over. Get on board. Get off the tracks.
Yeah.
Get on board
I get it.
Or get off the tracks.
I just don't know how else to say it, man. It's like, again, like I said, we still have a handful of people that 5 years later just can't get over the fact that we're sitting in office and that we've achieved, things that they were hoping we could never achieve. At some point, you got to, like I said, soul search, and you got to say, hey, I'm going to say you're doing a good job, and I'm going to support the movement. I may not go out and have a drink with you, Eric, or John Green, or John Antolin, or James Lopez, but ultimately at the workplace, I support you guys because you guys are doing a good job. But again, like I said, get on board, man. Do what's right, for the membership. You know what I mean? Do what's right to help us, achieve. And if your thought is, well, I'm going to support the membership. I had somebody tell me the other night, well, I support the membership. And I said, okay, well, are you going to help this administration if we win it? Well, I do it for the membership. Okay, but if you say I'm doing it for the membership, but at every turn you take an opportunity to spread lies or to trip us
fight
up
against your
or
local
to
union.
fight against your local union, you're not like, well, I support the membership, but I don't support the leadership. Okay, well, we go hand in hand. You know what I mean? That's like, again, let's go back to football. It's easy to I'm a Raider fan again. Yes, I am. But, it's easy to understand it. It would be like me playing for a football team and saying, well, yeah, I support my teammates, but I don't support my head coach. So anything I can do to tell him
to make him look bad,
I'm going to tell him to call the wrong play so we fail. And I can say, you ain't helping anybody, and I guess what? It just doesn't work. So again, get on board, get off the tracks, jump on the train, start paddling the same way, and let's make our local even stronger than it has become in 5 years. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say to end the show, no alcoholic beverages, but cheers, Eric, to another 3 years.
Yes. Get this in very
make sure
clear.
I got Liquid Death here.
Ginger ale.
Ginger
Okay.
ale. And
Yes.
Arnold Palmer for
Yes.
George there. But cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, and thank you to everybody for getting involved in the election process.
Awesome. Thank you guys out there for tuning in every week. We appreciate you. Please like, share, subscribe. Those are important to us. We do want to grow the show. This isn't just a 952 show. We like to discuss labor in a whole. So please do those things. Follow us on Instagram, OCST.952. Or no, is it dot? I think it's OCST952. No dot.
No dot. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at ocst.000@gmail. You could also send us pictures, whatever you want. And I have the phone number for the voicemail, and I'll put it right here and also be in the description. I don't remember off the top of my head.
And that one girl who left me a voicemail, call back.
Call back.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.